And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at a game called Guards! This is a Discworld board game based on the books of Terry Pratchett. Now, if you haven't read the books of Terry Pratchett, they're hard to maybe describe. I would say a mixture of Douglas Adams and some comedy writers mixed in a fantasy setting. Discworld is basically a fantasy world that is filled with nonsense and yet has some very good storylines. I haven't read all the books in the series, but I've read a few of them and I have enjoyed them, and actually I'm looking forward to read more of them. And so what Guards is it takes the attempt to bring that chaos here, in which wizards, for some reason or other, have lost some great spells, and they must now get these spells and bring them home, and the guards are running around and have to retrieve these spells and bring them back home. This is not the only game that is based on Discworld. I reviewed one a few years ago called Ankh-Morpork, which was a kind of strategic game in which you're trying to control parts of the city. It was a pretty good game. In fact, I still have it and like that game. This one here, Guards, is much more thematically heavy than that game. Let's take a look and see if it's any good or not. At the beginning of the game, which we'll be using the board here, each player is going to pick their guild. So for example, you could be the Guild of Thieves, or the Guild of Alchemists, or the Guild of Fools, or the Guild of Assassins. There's actually two of each, so someone else could be the Guild of Assassins also. The guilds are slightly different between the two of them, but each of these tells you how to do sabotage, kind of a reference guide, and then a special ability that your guild has. It also shows you the 5 different color spells that you're trying to get. As you can see, the 5 different color spells that you're trying to get are going to be different depending on who you are. You also have 3 stats over here: Charm, Magic, and Guild. You will start with certain stats. You can see all these start at 0 for Charm, Magic, and Guild, and as the game progresses, these stats will change. You'll take a playing piece of your color and you'll start it in your area of the board. The board is split into 4 different areas, and so you can see over here is the Thieves quadrant, over here is the Fools quadrant, Assassins quadrant, and up there is the Alchemist quadrant. So each of the boards will have people starting and moving around on that board. On your turn, you will be able to move 6 spaces on the board, and you can move any way you want. You don't have to move less than 6, but you have to move. I mean, you can move less than 6. You don't have to move exactly 6, but you have to move. Some of the spots when you go into them, like for example, the lords and ladies here, you will stop and take the action of that spot. Other spots, you will get that when you pass through them. And different spots on the board. If you go through your own guild, you'll get $3 from the bank. If you go to different spots here, like Lords and Ladies Volunteer and Shades and Shadows, you can hire someone or convince someone to join your cause. When convincing someone to join your cause, you go to the proper deck. So for example, here's Man and Beast deck, and there's a guy face up here. You can try to get him, or you can try to get the guy at the top of the pile. When you are trying to get someone to join your team, you want to look at their stats. You can see here he has a Brawl 4, Toughness 4, Streetwise 4, and Loyalty of 2. Sometimes they have a special ability. Sometimes they have symbols on the bottom of their card, but they have a charm and a bribe number. Now in this game, you'll be rolling an 8-sided die, and when you charm somebody, you will roll that die, add your charm skill to it, and if it's equal to or higher than the charm, then they join you. If you roll a natural 8, not only will they join you, but you have the opportunity to do it again, turn over the next card of the deck, and try to get that person to join you. If your charm fails, then you can just pay the bribe amount worth of dollars and add this person to your hand. Sometimes when you add people to your hand, they will increase your stats. Like for example, if you get this dragon you see at the bottom there, that he gives you +1 magic, and this guy here gives you +1 in your guild stat. When you flip a card over and it has the F at the bottom, the fate card, you will then flip over a fate card and do whatever the fate card says. Fate cards have all sorts of different special abilities that will change the way the game works. Maybe Here you have to move to the Curry Gardens and miss your next turn. Here, everyone has to roll the die, and if nothing happens, but you might be caught by the City Watch and taken to the nearest watch house. So there's all kinds of random events, and these will happen when one of these people with fate comes up. You'll also notice that some of these characters are wanted, like this gentleman here is wanted. You can always go to the nearest guard center and turn these people in, and they'll give you +1 to their bribe value. So you can turn this guy in and get 5 gold for turning him in. And there are 3 different decks: Man and Beast, Lords and Ladies, and Shades and Shadows. Also in each quadrant there is either an item deck or there is a scroll deck. If you go to the corresponding store, you're able to go through that deck and spend money to buy items that you can use to help you out. When you go through the scroll deck, you will have different scrolls that you can use, that you will of course have to roll a magical test to see if you can pass these, and that is what your magical skill is on the side of the board. Now what you're trying to do, of course, is you're trying to get to the different spots to pick up these great spells. These great spells, you need to return them. So when you do get to one of these spots and you do try to return a great spell, you're going to choose different people from your hand who are basically going to run that spell back for you. And then you're going to say which quadrants they're going to be running through to get back to your starting gate, because other players have the opportunity to have played people down as saboteurs who can mess you up. And the game actually comes with different tiles, and you can place these down on top of saboteurs. And so I can say the saboteur here is waiting in the thieves quadrant. No one knows that, but when they know there's a saboteur, but they don't know a quadrant. When you go through that quadrant, he will get you, and there could be a fight. And when you have a fight, you roll dice and compare stats to see who wins the fight. Otherwise, let's say you get through safely with no saboteur-ness. You get back here, you deliver the skill, then you have to pass a test, streetwise test, and that's using all the people you send. So obviously you roll a die and add it to the streetwise value of all your thugs that you sent back, or all your minions, or whatever you want to call them. And so the more you send back, the easier it is for you to get that 10. If you cannot pass the skill, maybe you can send more people next time. But if you do pass it, you get $5. All the people that you use are discarded. But more importantly, you'll put a token here to show that you've passed that test. So next time you have to pass a test of toughness 12, then loyalty 13, then streetwise 12 and brawl 12, and then the final one, the magic guild, dealing with them. Also, you'll go to your card here and you'll show that you have now returned the green spell. That was the spell that was turned back, and so I put this marker here. As soon as somebody has returned all 5 spells, then they've won the game. You can play a shorter game with a time limit. At the end of the time limit, whoever has returned the most magic spells wins. Or you can just say we're going to play the first person to return 3 magic spells. Other things are going on in this game. I'm obviously not going over all the rules. There is luggage here that moves around. You can see little footprints on the board. Many of the cards will show, actually almost all the cards, will show how much you have to move luggage. If you look here at the top of this card here, this guy who's won it, you'll see it says luggage does not move. The guy underneath it says luggage moves 6. So when it happens, whoever's turn it is moves luggage. If it runs into you, you get sent to the hospital. Which is essentially a pain in the neck, might make you lose a turn. There's also big dragons that will show up through event cards that players will have to jointly fight together. These giant dragons that have a brawl of 13 and a toughness of 24 that can, really hurt players and slow them down. And there's all sorts of other random things that can happen. Players can catch the pox and pass that off to other players. And it can be a real pain in the neck. Different things that go on. There is a player guide here to show you how to fight dragons, how to plant saboteurs, how to do combat. You can go to a tavern and try to recruit somebody who can come from any of the 3 decks, and so on and so forth. So that's basically a very general overview of how the game plays. Well, if you love the Discworld books, if you will sit here and take this game and read every card, if you look at all this and you laugh and you say, there's Brick, I remember him, and oh look, there's this character, and look, there's the luggage running around, you will probably like this game. Well, okay, you might like this game. The rest of you should run and not play it. And I feel bad about saying that because I understand what this game is trying to do. And it probably succeeds in doing it greatly. What it does, in Discworld, there is chaos. It's a very chaotic place. And it brings this chaos here. And you're like, oh, look at this, do this. And this game is very convoluted with not that well written of a rule book. But a convoluted thing. You're running around and doing this and getting this and going here and doing that. And none of it really means anything. It's just so lucky. You are moving a guy around the board, going to spots, getting items, recruiting people. That sounds interesting. And then those people can be whisked away. A dragon could show up and you have to fight it. You might get sent here. It's almost like, feels like Talisman in some sense, where you just, you have places you have to go to, but you have to kind of go to them in specific orders. It just feels like it didn't really matter what I did. I kind of just can saunter around and say, ooh, look at that, ooh, look at that, because the fake cards are crazy. I mean, anything can happen. And that luggage, don't ever get on the luggage path, because you'll probably get eaten by the luggage at the hospital. But you have to go on that path, because half the places you need to go to are on that path. It's chaotic. The board itself, you're constantly looking and trying to figure out everything. And nothing is easy to read really across the board. And like I said, if you're a big fan of the stories, you're going to get a kick out of that. You'll be laughing about this character and this character. Everyone else will be saying, okay, I want to know the stats on that character. Oh yeah, but he's that guy. I don't care who that guy is who did that. What my thing. I care whether he gives me +1. He doesn't. And there's lots of die rolling in the game, and that's fine, but it's just so lucky and it's all over the place. And the whole idea of sabotaging other people, after a while, you just want to pull someone out of their chair and slap them and say, stop sabotaging people. Because we're trying to finish this game so we get done, and you're just dragging the game out. Because that's what sabotage really is. It's let's drag the game out. It sounds cool, sounds fun. So I'm making this game sound like it's not fun, because it's not. But let me be clear. I do think there is an audience for this game. I'm not saying it's bad across the board. I think there is a lot of people who have a lot of fun. Though when they move across the board, they'll say, oh yeah, I remember this, and they will go visit a location, and that will bring back memories for them of the book. And when they turn over the cards, the artwork is very well done. They will enjoy that. There's a lot of flavor text, that sometimes it's hard to tell flavor text versus game text. And that will be enjoyable. So if you know someone who's a Discworld fan, a very strong Discworld fan, this would be a great gift to get for them. And if you are one yourself, you might like this game quite a bit. But as someone who likes games for the gameplay themselves, now, I'm a very strong theme person. I've said that many times. But this is an example, I think, where the theme kind of stomped out much of the game mechanics. I like the theme, but there has to be some good game in there too, and there's just not here. It's just kind of a basic run around, add modifiers, and roll a die. It could be called Munchkin the Board Game or Talisman Part 2. That's really how it felt to me, and so I don't like it. I'm sure there's some who will, but I can't imagine if you don't like the Discworld books, then you would never want to play this. So this is only for one group of people, Discworld fans.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com. Shut the door!
There.